Good morning, everybody. In this video, we'll review the considerations when it comes to finding a commercial place for your business or your office. My name is Great Anchera here on Planet Great. If it's your first time on my channel, please do consider subscribing. So one of the considerations is the frontage of the property. So depending on the type of business, if you have something that you're trying to sell or you need to market your business more, then you deal with frontage. Frontage is the length of in front of the property. So for example, you would put signage or marketing material, then you need a wide frontage. You would also need wide frontage if you need parking space for your clients to come and visit you because they might need to park. Of course, more frontage, then there's more visibility for people driving by to see your business. So for example, you can see McDonald's, Jollibee, they're always on these corners so that they have frontage on both sides. Frontage is also very important because it depends on the type of vehicles that will access your property. So for example, if you have trucks that are going to get access to your property, then you need a bigger frontage. You also might have a commercial property that's inside and the only way to access it is through a road or road right of way. Then you have to make sure that the frontage of that road right of way along the main road is wide enough for your clients or people to access your property. So depending on the type of your business, certain types of businesses require larger frontage. So for example, gas stations, they need at least 20 to 25 meters of frontage so that various cars or different kinds of cars can access. Frontage wise, if you're like a back office business, you really don't care about frontage. Your business can exist anywhere. So the next consideration is about what's already inside the unit or the property. There's some properties that will be bare. There's nothing inside and you have to do a lot of interior design work to make the place usable. So these are bare type units. Other cases, there are units that already have furniture, rug, appliances, air conditioning, etc. What you need to specify. The next consideration is what kind of businesses does the building, if in case you're looking for a property in a building, what kind of businesses do they allow? Because there are certain buildings where they have restrictions on what kind of businesses. For example, they don't allow businesses with too many people accessing the building, which will sacrifice the security of the building. Some buildings only permit certain types of businesses. So for example, in a hospital, of course, they only allow clinics. And of course, the commercial spaces, then that's the only where they will allow other kinds of businesses. There are requirements like building accreditations. You may have specific standards as far as the building is concerned. So certain buildings have certain accreditations and you might require these accreditations as part of your business. There are a limited number of buildings that have these kinds of accreditations. You require, for example, a PEZA building or a CESA building, then you'll have to specify these requirements so that we can find the right building for you. Parking may also be a consideration. You might need a certain number of parking slots for the commercial unit. Sometimes they include parking, sometimes there's no parking, sometimes the parking is available for rent. So you just need to specify how many parking slots you need, be it you as an owner or the staff or for your clients. So as usual, one of the biggest considerations is location. So usually you'd want to set up your business in a place where your target market is located. Other times, if your business is just an online business, it really doesn't matter where. Another consideration to take into note, if you have employees, how are they going to get to work and out of work? So you just have to make sure that there's easy access to thoroughfares or transportation hubs or whatnot. Now talking about the budget when it comes to rentals, for example, you really have to specify whether it's inclusive of VAT or exclusive of VAT so that you'll know the total cost when it comes to a monthly cost that you have to shoulder. When it comes to construction or doing some work in the unit, you might have to take into consideration the bond that usually the lessors will charge in case you're inside a commercial mall or whatnot. Another consideration is the amount of time that's given to you, a grace period, to do some construction work. Usually it's 30 days, and usually for the bigger developments it's non-negotiable. But in this world, I always feel that everything is negotiable. You just have to make a proposal. Another consideration is whether you would like something on the ground floor or an upper floor. So it depends on the type of your business. If you need it to be very visible, then you would request for something at the ground floor so that all the time people can see it. But if you don't mind an upper floor, then of course, then you just have to specify it. So another consideration is the amount of work you'll have to put in to make the unit usable. There are cases where there are commercial units which are really it's like a horror story. You'll have to fix up everything because it's like in disrepair. So you have to consider the amount of money you have to spend to get it to be fixed up. Of course, when the property is fixed up really well, usually the lessor would put in words in the contract that whatever has been improved upon and which cannot be removed will be there. So be very particular at looking at the contracts to see what is stipulated, so you understand the impact of what improvements you're making and who owns them afterwards. Depending on the type of business, you might want to also consider the fact that certain areas don't have, for example, high-speed internet. So you have to always ask what kind of providers are available. That's if your business requires the internet, which in most cases nowadays a lot of businesses require. So consideration when getting a vacant lot, for example, is how high you can build the building if you're going to build something. So it's very good if you can determine what the floor area ratio is for that property. Usually you can check this with the City Hall. City Hall has a zoning office, and then they would have the ordinances there which state how tall you can build depending on the type of use of the building or the property. You can actually get a certification from the zoning office as far as how high you can build depending on your type of use. But just so that you know, they do have a map that shows a color-coded zoning map as to the different areas in Makati, for example. So yellow for residential, reddish for commercial, and these types of uses are subdivided further. So another consideration is the number of people working at your establishment. You might need a lot of square meters to be able to house them, like for example if it's an office, or if it's like a restaurant or what, then you have to consider the number of patrons you'll be able to cater to. Another consideration is the security of the building. There are buildings that will require an ID before they can actually go in, and they will log everything down to the last letter. And there are also buildings that are kind of lax. So you would like to consider whether the area is flooding or not also, because for example here in the Philippines there are certain areas which are always flooding. Another big consideration is the price or the cost of association dues. So you should ask how much the association dues every month, so that you can take that into the consideration of your total cost of ownership. You might be acquiring commercial property and as well as the business. So for these types of cases, you might want to consider the financial statements of the business that you're trying to acquire. So of course, if you're going to request for these financial statements, you might be required to sign a non-disclosure agreement. A lot of people who acquire property, commercial property for investment, always ask about the return of investment when it comes to the property. So these financial statements will help. Or you can easily calculate for simple ROI by using a simple formula. The simple formula is pretty much the annual income that's derived from the property divided by the amount of money you're going to spend to acquire the property. Another big consideration is if the commercial property is inside the building, are there elevators there? Are they working really well? Because there are lots of establishments or buildings where the elevators are not working well, so you just have to ask around. So another consideration are the operating hours of the building in case your commercial properties inside a building. Certain buildings only allow regular office hours with overtime. So that's like 8 to 5 and then until maybe 10 o'clock. But if, for example, if your business is a BPO or a call center and you require 24/7 operations, then you have to check if the building allows this. By all means, this list is not an exhaustive list. There's a lot of more considerations, but I compiled this list because of my recent experiences and just want to call out the ones that are mostly considered. I understand that finding a commercial property can be very challenging, working with many people, trying to find your own place, but I hope this video will help you clarify the requirements, make it very clear to whoever you're working with. If there's anything I can help out in real estate, do consider contacting me. So guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. Those were the considerations when getting a commercial property. I hope you learned something new. Hopefully with the stuff that you've learned in this video, this will help you save time in finding the new home for your business. With that, I hope you have a great day.